Hey there and welcome to No Recipe Required. I'm Dave and tonight I'm going to show you one of my favorite filet mignon recipes. Now, not only is this a great recipe, but I'm starting off with a great product. I'm working with the folks at Certified Steak and Seafood. They've sent me over a couple of their filet mignons. I'm going to show you how awesome they can be when you just use a few simple core techniques to make a great crust on the outside. I like to cook mine down to a perfect medium rare. The sauce that we're going to use is absolutely awesome. It's like steakhouse quality. I think you're going to love it. Let's go ahead and get to it.
Okay, so I've got our fillets here from my friends at Certified Steak and Seafood. Now, I like to take them out. If I'm going to cook them tonight, I'll take them out early in the morning and put them in the fridge, and that way they can defrost, very gently in the fridge. No shock to the system or anything like that. You can see great cut here, the filet mignon, super tender. And what I like to do is start off with a nice kind of thick cut. These are at least 3 inches, 2.5 inches thick, which is exactly what you want. Once I take them out of the package, I'll let them sit out for about half an hour, comfort to temperature. If there's any extra moisture in there, just use a little paper towel to dry everything off. And then about 10 minutes before we cook them, we'll come back and season with salt and pepper. So while our steak warms up to room temperature, you can go ahead and crush your black peppercorns. Now you can obviously just use a pepper grinder, but what I do, because I like a little coarser grind, go ahead and take some whole black ground pepper, and then just use a pot like this. Kind of push and grind, use a good amount of weight and a little movement, and you'll get a nice, really coarse grind that's going to be perfect for our sauce. Okay, so we've got our 2 certified steaks here, and I'm going to hit both of them with a good amount of salt and pepper. Try and go from a height with the salt, because that's going to spread it around as evenly as possible. And then I'm going to go pretty light on the pepper, because we're doing a peppercorn sauce, so you don't need a whole ton of it. There's obviously going to be a lot of flavor running through that sauce. I like to do this about 10 minutes before cooking time, and then we'll come back, cook them off. We've got our certified filet mignons now up to room temperature and seasoned with salt and pepper. You want to get a smoking hot pan, really, really hot, because we want to hear that kind of sizzle when we put the fillets in. Our first goal here is to get a nice sear on both sides, and for that you need that super hot pan, and you also need to not move around the fillets really at all. They're not going to burn on you, trust me, don't worry about it. Just leave them sit there, let them get a good sear on that side for about 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. And while that's happening, I'm heating my oven to 400 degrees. It's been 4 minutes now since I first put the steaks in our nice hot pan. I haven't touched them, I haven't monkeyed with them. It's important that you just let that side sear, and that's what you're looking for. Nice kind of golden brown color. We're going to flip them over and let them sear on the other side. Now, a steak or a filet this thick, you're never going to really get cooked all the way through just on the stove top like this. So the goal is you sear one side, we'll flip it over, we're going to sear the other side. But we're going to really cook it through in the oven. And the reason we're going to do that is the heat moves from both sides, and I like a perfect medium rare steak. This is now still pretty raw in the center. And so I'm going to drop this, move the whole pan into that 400 degree oven for probably 8 minutes or so to get to the that perfect temperature on the inside, which is about 125, 130 for a medium rare. You can go a little bit higher if you want medium. My fillets were in for about 8 minutes or so, and you're looking for a nice, like I said, medium rare, if that's your preference. If you want it a little bit more, by all means, go ahead and do it. I'm going to put it back on the heat now. This is an optional step, but it's a bit of a restaurant trick. What I just did is add about a tablespoon of butter, and what you essentially do is deglaze the pan with this butter. And you want the steaks to be a little bit less done than what you want them to be at the final stage, because this is going to cook them a little bit more. But as that butter melts, you just baste the fillets. You do this for about 2 minutes or so, and that the butter kind of takes up the flavor off the bottom of the pan, and obviously butter right over the steaks gives it an absolutely awesome flavor. But it'll continue to cook the steaks because you're adding, obviously, hot butter to the top of the steak. So you just want to do this for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to kill the heat, and it's important to let these fillets rest. So I'm going to pull them off, put them on my cutting board, and while they rest for at least 5 minutes or so, we'll go ahead and make
our peppercorn sauce. Okay, so I pulled our fillets off, and then I added about 4 tablespoons of brandy. You can also use cognac to the pan. Be careful because it can flame up on you. So do it off the flame, then put it back on the flame. If it does catch on fire, just throw the lid on the pan. It'll smother the flame, or frankly, it'll burn out pretty quickly as well. Once it reduces by half, we're going to come back and add a little bit of beef stock along with our peppercorns. Okay, so our cognac's reduced down quite a bit now. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of peppercorns. I'm just going to let those go in the, it's almost a dry pan now. Just a little bit of that cognac flavor is left. Almost all the alcohol is gone. For literally, 10, 15 seconds. You don't really want to burn the pepper at all, but you do want to give it a chance to bloom, let the natural oils come out. And then I'm going to add about a half a cup of a good quality beef stock. And just like we did with the cognac, I'm just going to bring this up to temperature, up to a boil, and let it reduce down by half. Beef stock is reduced down now about half or so. And now's the time we're going to add the cream. The cream is important because that peppercorn is actually pretty harsh, and this cream kind of mellows the sauce out, and it'll also thicken it quite a bit. So we're going to add about the same amount, maybe a little bit less than of the cognac that we added. Still bring it up to boil, reduce it down, and essentially this is it. You're just going to bring it down to the thickness that you want, and then we'll go ahead and serve up our filet mignon. So my sauce is about where I want it in terms of thickness. You want to give it one kind of final taste. For final seasoning, this one actually needs a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to take it off the heat. We'll put it to the side. We'll pull our steaks out of, they're not in the oven, they're on my cutting board resting, and we'll serve it up. So we've plated up our filet mignon. I want to show you how it looks on the inside, so let's cut this open for you. And there we've got what I consider the perfect medium rare. Thanks to the folks at Certified Steak and Seafood. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.